Welcome back to our final segment of this edition of Chamber Exchange, a TV show brought to you by Fallon Health. And I'm very pleased to have in this segment with us Tom Bartholomew from Bartholomew Company. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Well, Tom, Bartholomew Company, I'll let you describe it better than I can, but work with people in and around financial investments, advice. Maybe you could share with us what the company does.
We're independent investment advisors. We're 24 people in Worcester since 1994 actually, and managing $1.4 billion worth of client money. We manage money for about 220 of the 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as well as hundreds and hundreds of residents up and down the East Coast. I think we're registered in 35 or 36 states in the United States, so we've got a pretty broad reach.
You mentioned in 1994, probably an idea in 1993 of yours, but you know, what kind of led you to kind of go it on your own? We talked with some of our previous guests about kind of that starting your own business and entrepreneurial spirit, and how come Worcester?
Well, I grew up in Worcester, and I went to Assumption College and graduated in 1979. 1977, as an intern, I started in the insurance business locally, and then in 1981, I went to work for the then Worcester County National Bank, which became the Sharma Bank in 1982, and I was never a banker per se. I was an investment banker. I was working in municipal finance, doing a lot of municipal advisory services and banking and debt issuance, building schools and roads and sewer treatment plants and financing all that stuff. And then in 1986, I took over the security sales operation where the commercial bank could operate. And did that until 93. So 93 came up when I left. In 93, went to a private firm because the banks were decentralizing a lot of the security sales operations, and it was not to the advantage of my clientele as much as it was to the institution. Right. And I went to a private firm for a year and decided it was in my client's best interest that I strike out on my own, which we did in 1994. So 22 years later or so.
Not always an easy decision to make.
No, I had 3 kids in school, and you know, the only one who never got a paycheck on time was me, along the early route. Right. But that's not an issue today. We're actively growing the business and having fun doing it.
Well, 2 things I want to come back to you: internships and growing the business. And but first, I want to say thank you, Bartholomew Company, sponsoring our Business After Hours for April, which is our kind of grand business after hours of the year, in that we host it with our 5 partner affiliate chambers: Auburn, Blackstone Valley Chamber, the Central Mass South Chamber, the Webster Dudley Oxford Chamber, and the Wachusett Area Chamber of Commerce. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know, networking and kind of getting the word out. Is this a way you kind of you market your company? Well,
we do. A lot of it's, you know, by reputation and by referral. Clearly, the best business that we get is by qualified referrals from current happy clients. But we're very active in the community, have been for a long time, serving on various different not-for-profit boards and making sure that we give back. To the extent we even opened a charitable foundation account, the Greater Worcester Community Foundation, from the company last year to give back to the community. So doing something with the chamber is clearly part of our mission. Yeah. We've been chamber members for ever.
A long time.
Well, since we started the company, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And one of the things that we're focusing on at the chamber through the program we started 2 years ago, the Chamber Higher Ed Business Partnership, is really focusing on encouraging our member businesses, create internship programs, working with the college and universities, because we know the data shows when we get students who do internships and get off the campus, they recognize there are a lot of great opportunities and companies here in Central Mass. Just your experience on that as an intern at Assumption, what did that teach you?
What did it teach me? It taught me that it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah.
But we've been active in using high school interns in summer jobs and somewhat in the college internship process. We just actually hired a young lady. She's going to start in June from the county, who goes to school outside the county, but she was in an internship program with us 2 summers ago, and then we placed her in an internship program at an affiliate company last year, and now she's coming out of school with a tremendous education, tremendous global experience, and she's going to start with us in June. So we were fully supported. I mean, I was a young intern, and I turned into a young entrepreneur, and I think it's to find those kind of people who want to do that and have an entrepreneurial spirit is really key to growing the business from the ground up.
Right. Well, 24 employees, that's pretty significant from when you took that leap in 1994 there. So that's great. just in terms of that, we're coming out of the Great Recession. Just kind of your thoughts on the economy locally and kind of on a larger scale, on the macro scale.
Well, I don't want to be predictive of markets and predictive of economies. My compliance attorneys would be pretty disappointed with me if I tried to do that. But it's clear that I think Mrs. Yellen, who's chairing the Federal Reserve Bank today, has been pretty clear about the fact that we're in a slow growth environment. And I think people's expectations need to be geared towards the fact that it's not going to be like it was when we were growing up. That your grandmother was making 5%, 6% in her savings accounts at the banks, and that's not going to happen anytime soon, because global growth isn't just not going to support it. Interest rates globally are not going to support it. So we try to corral our clients' expectations that what they should expect as a return, and we try to provide them with reasonable returns with risk that's fully disclosed, and they know what they're paying and the whole bit. So just the Department of Labor came out with big regulations yesterday. It's a 1,000-page document which we're trying to have our ERISA attorneys sift through right now. It's a very, very complicated new piece of legislation that came out of Washington.
Yeah, that creates challenges in terms of how you navigate and advise clients.
It does, and it's not going to change the way we do our business, because I think we're already there. We're all primarily accredited investment fiduciaries already, and we fully disclose all of our fees, and there's nothing hidden. But it's going to change the way we have to keep records.
Right.
It's going to when ERISA and the FINRA and the rest come in to audit us, we have to be able to prove to them that we're doing what the regulations call for. So. And
through all that, but also continuing education, continuing training and expertise, a big part of your line of work.
It is. It's unlike a lot of others who manage other people's money, whether it's banks or law firms and so forth. We're regulated by the federal government, and we are required to maintain a lot of continuing education, which we do. I mean, we're required to do it. It's licensed and it's online, and if you don't do it, you lose your license. Right. So we're hot on it every year.
And the state's involved too, so you got a couple of different levels with the Secretary of State's office.
True.
So, yeah. And the economy, I mentioned what you mentioned, similar to what we hear from a lot of our members, large and small. Cautiously optimistic, kind of slow growth. Maybe there's a capacity to hire a couple employees, but maybe have one with some extra overtime. That's probably something we're going to be dealing with for some time.
Well, we expect it is. Employment is growing, but wages are not growing as fast as they have been in the past. The velocity of wealth, the amount of money in the economy, just is not growing as quickly as we would like it to, so we can collect more federal tax revenue from payroll taxes and pay down the federal debt. It's growing very slowly. It's going to take a long time to work our way out of this problem at this pace. So unless there's major policy changes or something comes around the corner that we don't anticipate today, we don't think that the global economy is going to move really quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Positive, but patience required, I guess you would say.
Absolutely.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you for joining us on this segment. Thank you for your involvement and support of the Chamber, and thank you for being a job creator here in Central Mass, and love the fact that you're touching people all across the Commonwealth. So
great.
Thanks. And I want to thank you, our viewers, for joining us on this edition of Chamber Exchange, a TV show brought to you by Fallon Health. Tim Murray, until next time, signing off.